then when you think about circadian rhythms, the first thing you associate that with is think of the tides and how the moon affects in the gravitational pull and the um, rhythms. Think rhythms and tides in and out and in and out. And this is associated with the times of the day, and it's pretty predictable too. It can become pretty predictable if you study it and know what to expect. Um, like you can study the tides rather versus just going there and seeing if it's in or out, or you know, sometimes it's important to know those tides. But that's kind of what we talk about in Pisces, and when we talk about like in the whenever there's any idea of rhythms brought up, it's good to live within your rhythms and pretty much be able to expect when you're going to feel tired and need to take a nap, or basically to know ahead of time. I mean, if you think monthly too, um, for a woman to know ahead of time so she's prepared. It's basically about preparation and doing things in the right intervals of time and being able to live within um, keeping your body happy with, okay, let's focus here on melatonin. Your body is not going to be very happy if you're awake during the hours where, the melatonin would be really supplied at its peak at about 1 in the morning, or meditating at that time. That's when the melatonin, and this is associated with the repairing of, brings out all kinds of hormones of rejuvenating and repairing and human growth hormone. And it's essential really to be sleeping at those times. You wouldn't be healthy if you're up at those times. You're at your maximum. Let's just say you're more at your maximum of health when you're meditating or you're open at that time, as opposed to like in the daytime. That's it's real conscious. It's real like sunlight, and really, people are much happier when they're exposed to sunlight, and it really resets their clock. It resets your clock after you've been sleeping, and then you go out in the sun, and it reaches your retinas, and it really opens up your mind and your conscious. And this is daytime. This is awake. This is serotonin. Serotonin is associated with happiness too, which people take in the form of a pill. Prozac is serotonin, but along with all of the chemicals. Point is, there's a natural chemical serotonin with certain, if you're on your circadian rhythm, you're getting enough of that, and nature knows, there's no such thing as you have to take a pill. There's always a way to achieve that without the pill, because those pills really come from nature anyway. Nothing is derived from extraterrestrial planetary stuff. And, maybe, who knows? But, as far as we know, a lot of the pills really, you have to always consider mind over matter. Plus, when you think Prozac and you think serotonin, and you also associate serotonin and natural serotonin with sunlight and being exposed to your personal amount of sunlight, and knowing when is your time to be out there and to absorb that, or when it isn't right for you and you need to take a nap and meditate, or shut your conscious mind down a bit. Meditate, basically. That's another essential part in lifting your consciousness. It's like taking what you can see in the Ten of Swords as pain above a person, and it's all about pain because the thoughts are all painful and just scattered, and sending out vibes of pain into that consciousness. So that's what's coming back, storms and pains. And then being able to focus that into one sword, really just take that and lasso up all those wild horses, or, they say wild monkeys, and or even think the wild lions. Think of the strength card. You have to tame that wild lion with love, kindness. But, the entire point of the pain versus the pleasure, and then circadian rhythm, put those two together. You do what's pleasurable to you, and that becomes good for you. If it's pleasurable and you sleep and then you wake up, you go, oh gosh, that amount of sleep was really good for me. I think I'm going to try to set my schedule around that, because that's when I feel the best. So it would make sense probably that the same person would be able to accommodate that schedule if they were able to work at such times that they were able to sleep and wake up at those times. And usually life is you can kind of make it happen and find opportunities so that you can be kind to yourself and give yourself what you need and still be able to manifest also what you need without being too much of a slave. But that's always this fine line we balance when we're in this materialistic world, this monetized corporation. You know, it's really a tough one to balance. One of light and authenticness versus inauthenticity, and sort of kind of wobbly on the balance beam. We don't want to fall. We don't want to go into the tar pits. Yet we need to make the energy of whatever it takes in order to survive. So that energy comes in the form of money, and so we have to do this in order to survive. And it makes it hard to be authentic sometimes. It makes it hard to really see clearly what it is that's going to free us and help us to be stewards on the planet when we're just really trying to just have a home to live in. And so, here's the thing about the visualization part is when we just visualize the planet being healthier and the beings being happier and ourselves being able to give something positive to that, magic things happen inside, and those things that you're visualizing magnetically, something from the inside, actually brings that to you. It's weird, but it's just metaphysics and it's physics and it's scientific, and I think the more time goes along, people will really realize that, and maybe they'll even study it and see the resonances of what the brain waves are doing and how that's affecting the chakras and how that's affecting the magnetic system within that's bringing us the vibrations of the magnetic atoms that are coming to us, collecting to us. As they show in metaphysics, it's there. It's like we're in a dream. And those photons are out there. And they're waiting. They're just waiting for our thought and our input to be put into them so that they can work at our command. So what we need is to bring them to our command in a positive way. Less so the mind because it's bringing it in, but bring in the higher positive that can feed into fertile grounds and fertile fruits as opposed to the opposite. So when we focus again on circadian rhythm, find what works for you. And it's like, as a species, we're all kind of on a rhythm here. We sleep and we wake up at certain times. I suppose some people are born to be like night workers and night watchers, and we all have our own place in society. But for the most part, each species is on their circadian rhythm, and then each individual has their own place within those rhythms. And it's very important to really balance yourself and be within those rhythms. So you understand?